What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here, back here for another segment of Unpopular Opinions. It's been a while since I've done personally Unpopular Opinions, but I think it's been a month since we have done an Unpopular Opinions episode. But we've got a lot to get through today, so let's try and get straight into it. If you want your unpopular opinion to be read out, do send it in a super chat. We've got a lot to get through from Twitter, though. So let's get into the first one.
Everything right? Okay.
The new stadium was built on Viking burial grounds and and condemns the club to a century of bad luck and Enoch.
Viking burial ground. Or is Ragnar Lothbrok buried under the Spurs stadium?
Exactly.
Should I mean good luck?
Yeah, maybe good luck.
Yeah. We seem to have a few problems in the back.
Yeah, just put the camera on Sim.
But I'm sure that we are definitely cursed, that's for sure. So whether we're being built under a Viking burial ground, I mean, it's hard to know. I don't think it's a very popular opinion, but we're just fixing some technical issues. There's something happening in the back end, and we'll be with you in a sec. We'll be carrying on. Danny Kiriakou says we need Thor at this rate. That's for sure. We definitely need something like that. Someone is spamming Dyer to Roma, which definitely is not the case at the moment. Romano saying there's nothing in that. All right, something's... one sec. Dyer has literally cost us at least 10... Why is the whole chat about Eric Dyer? What is going on about Eric Dyer today? Don't think Dyer is going to be doing anything right now for Tottenham. Oratress Roy says Jose hates Dyer now. That's true. He definitely dropped him over the last few games of the season. All right, we'll get the next one up.
Sorry about that, guys, but we should be ready to rock and roll now. So what did we make? Okay, this is the next one. John Sheridan. Levy is a brilliant business-based chairman, but not football-related. We need to go and try and bring Poch back, plus a director of football, and give them full control. Also, Lamela and Lo Celso should be sold. All right, well, let's break this one down. Levy is a brilliant businessman, which is probably true.
Just not football related. This doesn't seem a very unpopular opinion.
Definitely just not football related. That's also very true. Need to bring back Poch. Yes, that's true. Director of football. Yes, that's very true. Lamela, should he be sold? Probably. Lo Celso, I would say no. I want to keep Lo Celso.
That's the only unpopular bit of that opinion, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So,
well, to be fair, in this Spurs fan base at the moment, it might be popular.
Well, yeah, Lo Celso is getting a bad rap. Him and Ndombele are getting a bit of some bad press in the Spurs Twitter at the moment. But I think they're two very talented players who I think would be stupid to chuck them away right now, especially when we've got bigger issues in the squad to solve.
100%. I mean, look, there's such pressing issues in this squad that we need to sort out like as soon as possible. Like literally, we need to sort it out 2 years ago. And there's such pressing issues. You know, the centre backs, the right backs, potentially a backup fullback or a fullback, maybe another central midfielder. I mean, you know what I mean? A backup striker. We've got so many issues in this squad that we need to iron out before Giovanni Lo Celso gets sold. So, in my opinion, yeah, a lot of that opinion is true, but the Lo Celso one I strongly disagree with. But let's move on. What else we got? Paul O'Connor. If we move back to adopting the high press, Ndombele and Lo Celso cannot play together. The formation will have to change to accommodate them both, or we will need to sell one. I'm not so sure about that one.
They have seemed to struggle a bit on the pressing issue whenever we've played this season, but I don't think it's just them. I think it's a team issue. It's a coaching. A part of it is coaching. Part of it is players around them. I do think they can handle it. I think they both, when on top of their game physically, are very good at getting in the opposition's faces and hounding them. But if they're not 100%, I think a lot of the time they can be overrun. More in Ndombele than Lo Celso. I think Lo Celso is pretty solid at that.
Yeah. But like you said, I do think it's more of a team issue than an individual issue. So I think that if we were a team that everyone was pulling in the same direction, hunting in packs, like we used to do under Poch, I do believe that they will thrive in that. I believe that. And I think that the pressing game, it's not that they're not suited to the pressing game, but I think this team are not pressing in as a team, basically. And that's the issue.
Exactly.
All right. Alex, what's that name? Tanguy Fastix. And he says, other than City, we are the closest team to winning the league. We just need a couple signings in defence and we are in real contention.
I mean, this is not really about, opinions. This is just factually untrue. It's just factually, like, we are not second
or third or fourth.
We are 7th or 8th even, I think, now at the moment.
The way I look at the Premier League at the moment, the way I look at it for next season, there are 4 genuine title contenders for next season and we are not one of them. The 4 genuine title contenders for next season are Man City, Man United, Chelsea and Liverpool, in my opinion. And I don't think we're even in the conversation.
Not at the moment.
We got a super chat here from Nithin Prasad saying, we let him down. If you see the players who are backing him, Kane, Son, Højbjerg, Toby, they are all performing well. He wanted Diaz, Skriniar, Fernandes and had to settle with Rodon. I mean, I'm not sure. I think that's in terms of
Mourinho, I think.
Yeah, in terms of the title of this video. Look, I think that it's an interesting one because look, I think Jose was part of the problem, but he wasn't the main problem and the biggest problem we had at the club. So,
and it is interesting to see who's coming out in support of him post his sacking. He does seem to be the main people in the squad, which is definitely what we saw. I think during his tenure, they were the ones, the great players performing to a new level, but the average to good players couldn't kind of up their game.
Yeah, completely agree. But like I said, if you do want your unpopular opinion to be read out, do send it in a super chat and we'll most definitely get to that. We've got a lot to get through from Twitter, so let's keep going. This one is from Dave Ray Bold saying, Graham Potter is probably the best fit for the club, but not for the fans' expectations.
Yeah,
well, for Simeon's expectations, that's for sure.
I agree with that. Look, I think he's a good manager and I think he's done a great job at Brighton. And I think out of the options we have, I think Potter's the best one. I really do. I can't see a one that has proven he can play good football in the Premier League and outplay the opposition as consistently as someone like Potter has done, and he's done it at previous clubs as well. So I'm not saying this is the guy who's going to kick us on and challenge for the title, but to improve the way we're playing at the moment, I think Potter's the one.
Yeah. But you just also, on the flip side of that, you just don't know how he will react to being within a big club as well, because the expectations will be a lot higher at Tottenham than it will be at Brighton, and it'll be at Swansea and most definitely Ostersund's. So you just don't know, do you?
You never know.
You never know, exactly. Next one, Danny Glover. Dembele was the most overrated player to play for Spurs in the last 20... the most overrated player to play for Spurs in the last 20 years.
That's very unpopular.
He was praised even though he had no end product, not many assists, and was always injured. I mean, you can't just judge a player on their end product, let's be honest.
Has he seen the kind of players who've played for Spurs in the last 20 years? He's saying Dembele is the most overrated. I mean,
you ask any player that played with Moussa Dembele, they say he is the best player that they've ever played with.
One of them.
And that is including players like Kevin De Bruyne, who played with him for Belgium. So, I mean, if they're saying that, then the guy wasn't overrated. The 100%. Guy wasn't overrated. If anything, he was underrated.
Yeah, that's what people say. I do think by the end of his Spurs career, people had realised how good he was and rated him very highly. But to say he was overrated, like the most overrated Spurs player in the last 20 years, absolutely no chance.
That is just a nonsense, isn't it? I mean, like, I actually feel hurt by reading that. I feel hurt. Like, I feel like someone's just punched me or something, because, like, Dembele, I hold him so close to my heart, Moussa Dembele, just because of the I just remember games like Juventus away, Arsenal at home, countless amount of times where he would just, like, get us the points all on his own. all on his own. Like, he'd have 3-4 players around him. Nobody could get the ball off him. Nobody could get near him.
One of the best players at controlling the central midfield. He balanced physicality and technical ability more than I've seen most players in a Spurs shirt ever. He's incredible footballer.
I do get what he's saying about the end product, though, because he had it in him. He could pick a pass, he could shoot, he could beat a man and get into the box and score. We've seen it on him, but not on kind of as regular as we'd have liked. You know what I mean?
Danny Kiriakou with Super Chat says Dembele was the most underrated player.
Exactly.
In the last 20 years.
Exactly.
So
I agree. I agree with that one.
I know we had, he didn't get many goals or assists, but he didn't need to. We had assist machine in Eriksen, we had a goal machine in Kane, and that's his job was to get the ball to them.
Yeah, exactly. Let's move on. This is THFCK. Kane is a bottler and hides in the big games and is a huge part of the reason we haven't won any trophies. I mean, how can you hide in the big games if you're the biggest goal scorer in North London Derby history?
Exactly, mate. He's scored in a lot of big games for Tottenham. Maybe not like finals, but a lot of games against top six. He has a pretty good record.
Nobody has scored in our last 4 finals.
Exactly,
so.
And to say it's on Kane, he's a huge part of the reason. I mean, that's absolute nonsense. Absolute nonsense. We bottle it as a team when we get to final. How many chances has Kane even had in a final? Like big chances to score a goal or something. We always bottle it and we crumble, and it's got nothing to do with Harry. Harry Kane's obviously, I mean, he's not blameless, but he's definitely not the biggest issue. If we had players around him, we had as strong mentality as he has, we wouldn't be an issue. But because our team is a bunch of bottlers, every time we get to a final, we shit our pants and we can't string a pass together, and that seems to be the case.
And look at all the big teams Harry Kane scored. Look at that brilliant goal he scored against Barcelona. I know we lost the game at the end of the day, but what a goal he scored at Wembley against Barcelona. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? This guy produces countless amount of times against the big teams. And, you know, he's not only the biggest goal scorer in North London derbies, but probably the biggest goal scorer at the moment in London derbies. How many goals has he scored in London derbies? You know what I mean? So, no, I'm not.
And also,
that.
You know, as I've said before, like Thierry Henry never scored a goal in the final. It's not him, but like that doesn't mean he's a bottler and always bottles big games, because he's part of a team. This is a team sport. It's not individuals. So the team has to step up as well. And Henry was not by far, but he was obviously Arsenal's best player during that time.
Yeah, and you can argue he's the best player in Premier League history.
But he didn't need to. Like, because obviously in finals there's a lot of focus on him because he's the best player, so he'd be double marked and whatever, and the opposition would focus on him a lot, but then other players would step up, and that's what Kane needs.
Yeah.
Because obviously he's our main goal scorer, he's our best player, so there's going to be extra attention on him for a final. Yeah. And so the opposition will be the one trying to shut him out, but other players in that instance have to step up as well. And when Kane is dragging 3-4 players away, you know, if you're not able to take advantage of that, that's also your problem, the other players' fault, not just Kane.
Let's move on to the next one. It's on the same ilk, Echo 8DO or BDO, I don't know what that says. Kane and Son are not big game players. So we've touched on Kane and Son. I don't know how you can say it about Son when we saw what he did on the Champions League run.
Exactly, every time he was
Man City quarterfinals. Mm-hmm. Enough said.
Exactly, he was absolutely stepped up for us. So I think Son as well can't step up in the big games. It's just it's a team. We are not a big team. We are not a big game team. It's not nothing to do with individual players. Absolutely nothing. It's nothing to do with Kane and Son. It's to do with our mentality as a team.
Let me read this super chat. Nithin Prasad again. Unpopular opinion. Pochettino was poor in decision making, which cost us the league title and the Champions League. There could be something to that. What do you reckon about it?
I disagree. I think he got as much. I think obviously he's not perfect. I'm not saying he's a perfect manager. No manager's perfect. You know, Guardiola's made bad decisions as well, and he's lost some games, but to say Pochettino was the one who cost us is a complete fallacy, in my opinion. He got every single ounce of ability out of that team he could. And the fact we were even challenging and even getting to a Champions League final is credit to him, and he shouldn't be criticised because he couldn't overachieve even more than he did overachieve. Mm-hmm. The fact he did overachieve at all and getting us to a position where we're challenging for a league title and getting us to a position where we're in the Champions League final is credit enough, in my opinion.
Do you think that, I completely 100% agree with what you're saying, but do you think there's an argument to say that in certain big games that we played in semi-finals, in finals, in like the actual biggest game, not actually getting to the final or the semi-final, not the journey, but the actual big event, you know, the semi-finals and the finals, that he did make kind of key decisions that went against us in terms of bad decision making?
Yeah. But hindsight is 2020. If Lucas would have started the final, would it be different? I don't know. If a half injured Ben Davies plays instead of Son at left wing back in that FA Cup semi final against Chelsea, do we win that game? I don't know. Maybe Davies gets rinsed because he's half injured, or maybe he actually puts in a solid performance. I can't tell. If Tottenham keep their heads in that game against Chelsea, we still wouldn't have won the league. But like, all these things are just hindsight. Like, I don't know. Of course, he made some.
The second leg against Juventus. Do you put anything there down to Poch? Any decision making?
Not at all. I can't think of I remember in that game we annihilated Juventus for an hour. We got one goal. Didn't get the second goal, even though I remember Kane rounded the keeper and hitting the side netting, and a few other chances we had. Didn't take our advantage. Allegri made a couple of subs, which we didn't. Yeah, you could argue Pochettino didn't react to quick enough, but. Like, our Juventus had a better team than us. They did. That's the reality. And the fact that we outplayed them for a majority over those two legs is credit to Poch, rather than the fact that he obviously got outdone for the last bit. Yeah,
I mean, the narrative after that game was that Spurs were on top for 1.5 games, pretty much. Or maybe not the first half in Turin, because we were 2-0 down, weren't we? But the second half in Turin, we came back to 2-2. First half at Wembley, played very well. And then the narrative was this: in the second half, Allegri completely outdid Poch.
He did, because we didn't get that second goal that we should have got, which we created enough chances to get. And then once they made two subs, they got two very quick fire goals. And it's very like, you got when a change is made, like, you got to see how it plays out first to see if you're struggling, because they literally made two changes and got like 2 goals in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But it's hard to like, because just because they made two, we're dominating, they make 2 changes, then it's like, oh, I have to preempt those 2 changes within the 5 minutes they score, otherwise he's going to be criticised. It's very difficult to say that. And at the end of the day, I remember we hit the post right at the last minute as well.
Yeah.
We nearly got back in the game. So we did also create stuff. So it's difficult to say that, in my opinion.
All right, let's move on to the next one from THFCK again. Oh, this one. This is the one from the title. Jose Mourinho was Spurs' worst manager since Juan de Ramos.
I mean, statistically, he probably is, to be honest.
Who are our managers since Juan de Ramos?
Got Redknapp.
Yeah.
You've got AVB.
Yeah.
Sherwood, Pochettino, Mourinho.
So if I'm going to put them in order, I'd go Poch number 1, Redknapp number 2, then probably Jose number 3. I'd probably go ahead of Sherwood and AVB.
I think, statistically, yeah. That in terms of how good the team was, it's difficult between AVB and Mourinho. I think to be honest, I think the team was better under AVB, just about. In that first season.
We don't get battered like we got battered under AVB under Jose.
Season, I'm saying, in his first season.
In his first season.
Because when we had that Dembele, Sandro, pivot with Bale, with Bale there as well. Lennon was there.
And Bale that season was like what Kane was for us this season under Jose, pretty much.
It's difficult because we were top of the league under Jose before it all fell apart.
Yeah.
We're never quite that under AVB.
It was very early on in the season, though.
Yeah, but there was 14 games in. We were top of the league. So it wasn't like, I'm not talking 2 or 3 games. I'm talking 14, 15 games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably agree with you. I think overall we were just about better under Jose than AVB if we're taking the whole tenure. But I'd agree with you. Mourinho third, AVB, then Sherwood. All
right, let's move on. I'm not going to attempt to read that name because it's a bit far away and I can't see it. Can you see it?
Matlaz.
He says, if we get a manager who plays a back 3, then Doherty, Foyth can become crucial members of the squad.
I like Foyth. I think he's done a great job. He's done well at Villarreal. I like him, and I think I saw him against Arsenal, put in a really good, strong performance. They're obviously big fans of him over there as well because he seems to play often. I
don't think Foyth is sent back.
He's versatile.
I don't think his number one position should be a centre-back. I think he should be a CDM.
You think so?
Yeah. From what I've seen, especially what I saw against Arsenal in the thing, driving forward from midfield as well. He looked brilliant.
He's playing right back then.
Yeah, he played. Yeah, but there was that moment where he was getting in that middle of the park and just completely rinsing Dani Ceballos every time.
Yeah, but it's different doing that from right back than doing it from CDM. It's different kind of skill, because when you're doing it from CDM,
or maybe not CDM, maybe just the CM, maybe like a box-to-box kind of CM.
No, I don't.
You don't think so?
No.
Why not?
I don't agree. I think he's got good for a defender. He's got good composure, but whether when he's in the hustle and bustle of being in centre mid, it's like when you're in central midfield, a lot of the time it's like going a mile an hour, like 100 miles an hour. You got to think very quickly. You got to have a lot of composure, a lot of technical ability, and know exactly what you're going to do with it. I haven't seen any evidence that him playing in that role. He's very good when he has time and space, and he has space to drive in, and he can see the pitch in front of him. But when you're playing in central midfield, you've got players on you all the time, and it's very, very different. I don't know if he'd be able to handle that. He might be. I just haven't seen any evidence that for sure that's his future position. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that, but I
definitely
just,
not CM. If it's going to be, it's going to be CDM.
I just don't think he's suited for a centre back role in the Premier League. I just don't know if he's suited.
I think if
to
he
that.
can bulk up, he can.
Maybe.
Again, but we've been talking about that with Foyth for a while.
Yeah.
He seems to have shone at right back. I think he can do a good job at right back.
For Villarreal, he's played like a mixture of all three positions.
Yeah, he has, exactly. He's played a lot. He's been very versatile, but in a good way and a bad way. It's kind of like, it's great because he can play all these positions, but it's also like he's not really.
He's like a jack of all trades, master of none.
He nailed down a position in
one of them, you know what I mean? Jack of all trades, master of none.
That's the problem with Foyth at the moment.
A bit like Eric Dyer.
Yeah, but it's like he's like good in all of them, but like when you got your best 11, does he make the best 11?
No,
you know what I mean?
But I think he's a good player to have around the squad, though.
Yeah, but when you want a player to like just grab that spot and say, this is my spot, he hasn't done that yet. Really.
No, he hasn't done. How old is he now?
He's still young, 22.
Yeah, so I think he's still got time on his hands, and I actually genuinely would take him back. But I don't think we will.
Well, it's not up to us, is it? Because he's got a clause.
He's got a clause, yeah, and Villarreal.
It's up to him.
Villarreal will really want him, and I think he will go.
If he rejects Villarreal, he'll come back. But other than that,
I can't see him rejecting Villarreal. I think he's having a good time over there. And what about the Doherty one?
Yeah, Doherty. I'm mixed whether I feel sorry for him or he's just not good enough. I'm still not sure yet.
I feel sorry for him that he's not good enough.
Yeah, I mean, from what I've seen, I don't think he is good enough to be at Spurs. But whether him being played in the back four too much or him just taking time to adjust to being at Spurs, I'm still not sure. I do think he's going to get another season, seeing as we gave him, I think, a 4-year deal or 3 or 4 year deal. So I do think he'll get another season. But at the moment, the jury's well and truly out on Doherty, on the quality he really has.
Yeah. If you want us to respond to any of your unpopular opinions, do send it in a super chat. We've still got, obviously, a lot to get through from Twitter. So let's keep going. Mike, THFC11, saying Trippier is still wank.
He's better than anything we have.
Exactly.
So what does that say about our options?
Exactly. I think that we all chased Trippier out the club.
We did, and
pretty much.
That.
And now me for one, are regretting it. I think he's much better than Aurier, much better than Doherty, and we could really do with him. And I think that the season where we all chased him out, he was going through a lot of injury problems at the time, and like no one took that into consideration at the time.
Look, he's still not. I still don't like, even now he's doing well with Atletico, but he's still not like, if he comes into the Premier League, I'm not saying he's one of the top right backs in the Premier League if he comes in, but he's definitely better than anything we have, especially on the ball. His quality on the ball is still there, so I think we screwed up massively by letting him go too early. I wouldn't say we necessarily screwed up by letting him go, but what we did is we screwed up by not effectively replacing him with anyone better. So the fact of the matter is, if he comes into Spurs now, he's our number one right back.
Yeah. No, 100%. George M. Gmo 1882 saying Sanchez would be class next to a commanding centre back.
I mean, he's had Ian next to him.
Oh God.
He's had Toby next to him. So hasn't he had his? I don't know. Like I know they're not. I know Toby's not the most commanding, but I don't know. I don't know if there's any truth to that. Like, if you put him next to Van Dijk, I'm sure he'll be better. Would he be class? Would he be the answer? I'm not so sure. I think he just look like. He makes too many mistakes. His quality on the ball has got nothing to do with him being next to a centre back. That composure's got nothing to do with that. You can maybe argue the fact that he ball watches a lot and stuff like that. That could be lapses of concentration because he's not being challenged enough by the guy next to him. But his composure on the ball isn't to do with that, in my opinion.
All right, let's move on to the next one from Cody Mack. Son and Kane's telepathic relationship has become an issue. Teams have figured out how to defend it, and we are short of ideas without it. First 15 games, 12 goal combinations. Last 20 games, 17 played together, 2 goal combinations. We need a better team attack going forward.
What I would say to that is that I don't think the relationship has become an issue. I think, yes, they've been found out, but it's not Kane and Son's fault that they were our only threats. It's not Kane and Son's fault that they were doing so well at the beginning of the season, and now teams have figured it out. It's up to us to find avenues of attack rather than just relying on 2 players.
The team always needs to be evolving.
Exactly.
The team can never stand still. It can never stand still. Always need to be evolving throughout the whole season and moving on to the next and the next and the next. And this has been the problem with Tottenham Hotspur for the last 3 years. We haven't evolved in the last 3 years pretty much. We've only been stagnating or going backwards. And stagnating in football is going backwards. So basically we've only been going backwards the last 3 years. In terms of this season with Kane and Son, we always said it, the first half of the season, it was always going to be so hard to replicate what they were doing just because they were outscoring their XG, outscoring
by
their
massive
XA.
amounts, yeah.
They were, absolutely the most clinical finishes I've ever seen from both of them.
Son scoring from that goal against Arsenal. You can't do that every game.
Son was literally scoring with every shot he had in the first half of the season. So, it was always going to be impossible to keep that going. So you always had to find new ways to attack and new ways to hurt opponents. And we did that. We did that with Gareth Bale. Gareth Bale came in and started scoring goals. But in terms of just Kane and Son, we didn't really find new ways to get them involved in the game.
But when I'm coming into that as well, when you find new ways of attacking and new ways of asking questions of the opposition, not just relying on 2 players, they'll also help the 2 players get back into goal scoring form because the space will then open up again for them. That if the opposition defences and teams start having something else to concentrate on, like a Bale or whatever, if someone else steps up, then that opens up again space for players like Kane and Son, and they can get back into goal scoring form and instead of being double marked all the time. Yeah. So that all feeds into everything. So I don't think it's their relationship was the problem. It's the team dynamic that was the problem.
Agreed. Mercato plays with the next one, and he says Davis should start over Reguilon when he comes back from injury.
We always do this. We always do this in the fan base. Whenever someone is injured, they're the answer every time.
Eric Dyer has been the answer.
Exactly. I remember every time it happens, someone is injured for a while, and then as they say, the top for Spurs players especially, their stock is never higher, but when they're injured, it's never higher until when they're injured.
That's the Spurs fan base for you.
Like with Dele, the massive thing with Dele as well. Whenever he's out, not in the team, or whatever, he's always the answer. He's the answer. And he comes in the team and he's wank.
It doesn't mean an injured player can't be the answer though.
Just saying, it always happens. But listen, I'm going to say this: Ben Davies is not the answer. He is not the answer.
Reguilon does need competition, though.
Of course he does. I'm just saying, Davis is not going to be some miraculous thing when he comes into the team that he's going to save our defense.
Goal against Stoke, mate.
Oh, unbelievable! Yeah. I forgot about that. Sorry. Like people always forget, like the players' flaws when they're out of the team.
You always say, "Can you do it on a cold rain night in Stoke?" And Ben Davis did that.
Ben Davis did 25-yarder.
So look, I get where this is coming from because Reguilon is off form at the moment, and he is playing bad. And Ben Davis, you know what you're going to get with Ben Davis every time, don't you? You're going to get a 6, 7 out of 10. With Reguilon, you either get like a 9 out of 10 or a 3 out of 10 at the moment.
That's how it's been at the moment. Yeah.
So look, I think Reguilon is a far better player than Ben Davis, and I think we need to upgrade on Ben Davis.
I think Reguilon's probably got more assists this season than Davis has in the last 3 years.
Probably, yeah.
That says it all.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. And this is the same ilk. Ben Davis is a better defender than Reguilon, and yeah, I'd agree with that. As a defender, I think he is better.
I don't know, actually. I'm not so sure of that, to be honest.
Reguilon's too much of an he's all over the place when he's defending.
Yeah, but when he defends right, he can be just as good, if not better, than Davis. At
yeah,
defending.
that's a big if. I mean, how many times have we seen Reguilon
how many
defend
times have
right?
we seen Davis on toast as well? You know what I mean? It's not. It happens time and time again.
True.
It's not like it's an uncommon occurrence.
True.
So I don't think that's necessarily true, to be honest.
I think he is a better defender. I think he's not a better all-round player, but I think he's a better defender.
If you're saying that, I don't think there's a lot in it.
Yeah.
I really don't think there's a lot in it.
No, you're probably right there. But let us know in the comment section below. Do you think Ben Davies is a better defender than Reguilon? Not a better player, but a better defender. Let's move on to the next one. Jamie Revel saying Ndombele is overrated and should be sold.
If Ndombele played for Man City in Guardiola's team, people would be calling him the best midfielder in the league, I think.
Yeah.
I really believe that. Like, if he played in a possession-dominant team, and he was allowed a lot of time on the ball and to be in the game and getting assists and beating players regularly, like, I think he would be such a star. I think at the moment with Spurs, he's come into a team which isn't functioning at his highest. We saw when it was functioning what a crucial part he was to the team. But I just think right now, it's not functioning again and he's struggling. But I think he's got so much talent, so much ability that we just need to unlock it. And I think it's been unlocked already this season. We've seen how good he can be. So, no, I don't think he should be sold. And I think he's got serious talent.
Yeah, I think what Jose said about him is right in terms of he's got one of the biggest, most technical ability in the whole of Europe at the moment. So I think we've got someone on our books now with absolute world star ability, world class ability. You know what I mean? Yes, he's not showing it on a consistent basis at the moment, but that's up to him and up to us to unlock that ability and build it. I think we should actually be building a team around someone of that quality.
He's got that much ability that we just need to keep playing him, feeding him the ball and getting him integrated. And I think at the moment, I think the team just isn't functioning. It's not like how the team's being coached right now isn't the best. So I think he's struggling at the moment. But look, he's class. This guy's class. And if we stick with him, I think it's going to get big rewards. Got a super chat from Mintu Lee. He says, besides all things, Jose have been wrong about. He was right about Bale not tracking back, and Dele sucks big time. Bale not tracking back, he was right about, and I do agree with that, and I do think that's why a large part of the reason why he didn't play Bale. But what I would say is when we're playing against teams like Fulham and Newcastle and stuff like that, he should be playing Bale, because what you get out of him from an offensive point of view outweighs what you're gonna need from him tracking back. So I disagreed with him not playing Bale in those kind of games. In terms of Dele, was he right about Dele as well? I mean, time will tell, but at the moment, he doesn't seem to have been wrong about Dele.
Yeah. Look, I think Jose was right about most things, to be honest. I just think his man management skills were lacking. That's my opinion. Next one, Danny Kiriakou. What's he saying? Danny Kiriakou is saying, fan representation on the Spurs board is pointless. As Simon Jordan says, any fan on the board would most likely need to sign an NDA, so effectively they couldn't tell the fans what was being discussed anyway, and will be kept in-house. Probably someone from the Supporters Trust will be this fan. Pointless.
He's probably right, to be honest. He's probably right. It was hard to know, really, what the end game is with this fan panel and how it's going to be conducted. And look, you're right. He's probably right. It probably will be a bit pointless, but at least they're reacting to the pushback, and they made a statement about the fan representation stuff now, and they're making steps, even if it's just for show. They're making steps to integrate fan representation, and I do think we need to keep going in terms of putting pressure on them. And I do think it is a bit for show. What the statement was a couple of days ago,
a bit.
But at least they're reacting to the pressure, so it is making a difference. What the process and the pressure being put on the board is making some sort of an impact. And if we keep going, hopefully, in the future, we'll get some meaningful change.
Yeah. With their response and their apology and all that kind of stuff, with their statement that they made a couple of days ago, for me, it just felt like one of these token gestures, to shut us up for a bit, saying fan representation on the board. That also seems a bit of a token gesture as well. Like, are they really going to be involved in key decisions? No, exactly.
As in, they won't get a say.
Yeah.
They might be in the room on their end, but like, what, they're going to get a vote? They're going to get an actual say? I doubt it.
All right, if you want to send us in a super chat, an unpopular opinion, do send it in a super chat, and also scroll down and smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. We're on 91 likes and 500 people watching at the moment, so come on guys, the numbers don't add up. If you do like our content, do scroll down and smash the like for us, because it really does help us with the YouTube algorithms and helps us be seen. So let's move on to the next one from Nico. Levy has done a great job.
Levy has done a great job. In what sense, Nico? Look, I can understand people who defend Levy's record, but I think I was one of them, to be honest. I've obviously seen the flaws in him previously, but I've always defended that the way he's built the club up. But I think time has come where we're at a certain stage where it's just not enough anymore because we're a football club, and at the end of the day, footballing decisions have to come first, and for too long they haven't. And I think the ESL was the final straw, to be honest, absolutely final straw, where football decisions took the back burner yet again, and for the biggest decision and for the last time for me. So I think from a footballing point of view, yes, we've improved our league positions and stuff like that, and he's built the club and the stadium up, but every single time a key footballing decision which has meaningful impact on the team is made, it's always business first and never football.
Yeah, I've been saying for the last year maybe that maybe a bit longer than a year, that I think that Daniel Levy has probably taken us as far as he can take us with the way he runs the club, and I genuinely believe that. And I had no anger or hate towards Enoch or Daniel Levy, and I kind of glossed over all the
You wouldn't say that when looking at you at the protest.
Huh? No, I'm saying then.
Right, sorry, yeah.
I kind of glossed over the mistakes they have been making and kind of, getting us to a certain point, not kicking us on. I did gloss over it and gave them the benefit of the doubt, because I genuinely thought that they did have the best interests of the club at heart. But, now since the Super League, since everything that's happened over the past 6 months or whatever, in my opinion, they've shown their true colours. And yes, they've done a good job on the business side. We're absolutely unrecognisable to when they took us over. Enoch bought us for £22 million, and now they're valuing us at like £1 to £2 billion. So in terms of that, then he has done a good job. But always he gets us to a certain stage and can't kick us on. So he's taken us as far as he can go, in my opinion. Let's move on. Chemo Hainan saying Potter is overrated manager. There is no progression compared to Hughton, even when Brighton have had a €222 million net spend in the last 5 years.
I don't think he's overrated. I think if you watch how Brighton play, Hughton kept them up playing a different brand of football, whereas Potter has tried to implement a very different style, which is a lot harder to implement when you're a team near the bottom, and you're a team trying to play this kind of football with maybe worse quality of players. And I think it shouldn't be underestimated how difficult that role is for someone like Potter to try and do. And I think he's done a great job in getting that Brighton team playing the football that they do play. And even though results necessarily haven't maybe been the best, I do think they have been very, very unlucky in terms of the way they've played football and how they dominated a lot of the opposition teams. And I do think he should deserve more credit for that.
What makes you want Potter more than Bielsa?
What makes you want Potter more than Bielsa? I just think Potter has maybe fresher ideas. He's a bit younger. I just think that I know Bielsa as well as has got Leeds playing very exciting football, and their fitness is good as well. And Bielsa's also a good coach, but I don't know. I feel like Potter's just more current. I don't know. That's all I would say. I just feel like Bielsa, I feel like he wouldn't. I feel like he would fall out with the current structure. I'm not sure Potter would. I think Potter would be more willing to work within the current
More of a
structure.
yes man.
Exactly, than Bielsa.
All right, let's move on to Enoch out, Levy out, get them gone. Says Van der Vaart was miles ahead of Alli.
Van der Vaart was miles ahead of Alli.
I mean, Van der Vaart never had a season like Alli had.
He didn't.
20 goals.
No, he didn't. I don't think he was miles ahead of Alli, but I do think he was better than Alli, to be honest. I think he has more quality. I do think Alli maybe physically is a bit of a better player than Van der Vaart was. Van der Vaart was more of a luxury player than Dele. But in terms of if you want a ball falling to someone on the edge of the box, I'd rather Van der Vaart. They're both are luxury players, but I'd say Ali's a bit more physical than Van der Vaart. I would say if I want a ball falling to someone on the edge of the box, who'd I rather it fall to, Van der Vaart or Dele? I'd rather it fall to Van der Vaart.
Yeah. So where'd you rather Alli then?
Where'd I rather Alli?
Or are you saying you'd just rather Van der Vaart in general?
They're both quite inconsistent players.
Yeah.
I think at their best, Alli was a lot more consistent and was able to make more of an impact in the game. But I think in terms of actual quality, I do think Van der Vaart was ahead.
And it's also interesting, worth noting that Van der Vaart was a lot older when he came to Spurs.
He was much more experienced player.
So he was a much more experienced player. He'd been at Real Madrid. He'd been at a lot more different teams. So Alli obviously came from us from MK Dons when he was 19.
Yeah.
So maybe we can answer this question when it's all said and done in a couple of years. We'll be more qualified to answer this question. But if you just take their times at Spurs, who was who was better individually, I think there is a case for Alli. I think there is a case for Alli. If you take let's take both of their best seasons. Who had a better season that year?
Dele.
Yeah, exactly. So I think just because of that, there's a case for Alli.
Yeah, true. And they also both played quite offensive positions. Like both Van der Vaart was playing as a striker at times, and Dele as well was playing as a striker at times. So I don't think Van der Vaart was miles ahead of Dele. I just think maybe a tad bit more quality about him, but that's it. I think Dele at his best as well has a lot of quality.
Maybe Van der Vaart had a better mentality.
Potentially. When he had those games against Arsenal, he was like proper all over the place in the game, running left, right and centre, and like always. But
also Dele against Chelsea, even against Arsenal, he scored a lot of goals for us against these two teams.
It's true. At his peak. It's true.
All right, let's move. Well, first of all, spam in the comments who was better for us, Dele Alli or Van der Vaart, as we move on to Jack Burford. This summer could be one of the biggest in Spurs history. If it goes well, we can start competing on all fronts again. If we fail, we can turn back into a mid-table side. I mean,
I feel like I've said this for the past
we
few
say
summers.
this every summer. We say this every summer. Oh, this is the biggest summer in our history. Every summer is the biggest summer in our history, isn't it?
Because of how we are. But I think in terms of this summer, especially it depends what European competition we're in, but we're 2 seasons out of the Champions League now in a row. We are at risk of really becoming just a back to mid-table again, which is a big worry, massive worry, considering everyone's improving. Liverpool, as you said before, everyone above us is really improving, and maybe not Liverpool, but the Chelsea, United, and City.
When Liverpool get their defence back in the summer, they'll be fine next season.
They will improve. They will definitely improve. So Spurs look to be at the moment. Whereas we were ahead of the game when we had Pochettino and we had this young set of players, we didn't take advantage of it. We didn't score when we were on top, as I say. And now we're in a position where we've let it slip so far that it's going to take massive, massive changes to get it back to where we even were. Not need to forget pushing ahead of that. To get back to where we were, it's going to take a long time. So we've really screwed up with how we've managed this squad.
Thanks, Daniel. Let's move on to Felipe Orlando. Harry Redknapp is more responsible for turning Spurs into the big club they are today than Pochettino. I don't know about that.
I would say under Harry Redknapp, to be fair to him, he did take us from 8th to 4th in one season. And that doesn't get enough recognition nowadays than it should. And that was good. What I would say is the next season we finished 5th. The following season we had that embarrassment where we finished 4th, but we dropped out of the Champions League. So we never meaningfully challenged, and then we didn't. So when we finished, we got Champions League under Redknapp, but we didn't get Champions League again for another 5 years until Pochettino came in. So I would say Pochettino was the first manager who had actually genuinely had us challenging for titles and got us Champions League football for 5 years and 5 years in a row.
Although I do feel that we could have challenged for the title under Redknapp if he wasn't going for the England job. He didn't have this court case,
and Levy backed him.
And Levy backed him that January.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's true. That's all true, and that's all true. But in terms of being a really big club, it was Pochettino that got us that status of being respected. Under Redknapp, we were just like plucky underdogs who kind of overachieved and did well to get into Europe. But under Pochettino, we became an actual team.
One of the top 2 clubs in England.
I mean, yeah.
Those stats, those 2-year stats that everyone's seen a million times, when we're the number one in everything we're number one, and obviously number one in the league over 2 years, but didn't win the league. I mean, first of all, that's probably unheard of in Premier League history. Yeah. And second of all, that just shows what a good job he did. He had us being the best team in the Premier League over a 2-year period.
You could rely, Spurs became a team who you could trust to always give their all and always give the opposition a game as well, and we got top 4 for 4 years in a row under Pochettino. 4 years in a row. That made us a real big club. It pretty much we probably even wouldn't have got the stadium if it wasn't for that, to be honest, because we were waiting for us to become a Champions League regular, and then we kind of pushed on with it. I feel, even though the same has always been in the pipeline. It's no coincidence that it took back-to-back Champions League seasons for us to get in there. Mm-hmm. So I feel like Pochettino was definitely more of a reason why we became a real big club than Redknapp. Although Redknapp definitely deserves recognition for getting us our first Champions League campaign.
I think Harry Redknapp built on the work Martin Jol did, and Pochettino built on the work that Harry Redknapp did. Mm-hmm. Shame there was a few managers in between that kind of screwed us over, but
good appointment, bad appointment. Good appointment, bad appointment.
That's literally it. So maybe we're due a good appointment now.
Yeah, because we just had a bad one, so hopefully we're due a good one.
Malachi, he says, if we get Graham Potter as manager, Doherty could be very good under him.
Would Doherty thrive under Graham Potter? I know Lamptey's done really well this season for Potter. I don't know. Because all we know about Doherty is his time at Wolves, and in terms of how good he can be. And again, even at Wolves, it wasn't his play in possession in terms of him getting on the ball, passing and moving, and that kind of stuff that really made him thrive. It was more his movement in and around the final third, and whether anywhere but that certain system he could really have joy, we don't know. I don't think Doherty. I think maybe Doherty can be better than he is now, for sure. I think right now we're seeing the worst version of Matt Doherty, and I do believe he can be a better player than he is now. Whether he could really be our answer though for at right back, it's well and truly out. And I don't think. I think we need.
I just can't see it. There's nothing he showed me in a Spurs shirt. Nothing.
Yeah. So I think at the moment I don't know if Graham Potter is really going to make Doherty the best right back in the league.
Give him back to Wolves for half the price. Come on. But look, that is it. That is our unpopular opinions for today. Thank you everyone for joining us today. If you do want to send us one quickly in a super chat, we'll quickly get to it. But I think that is all we got today. I just want to remind you that we're back on the quizzes this evening or this afternoon, 4:00. Come and join us back as we got another round of Spurs quizzes where we test your knowledge and see how well you guys are doing in your Spurs knowledge. A quick one has come in here from Mintu Lee, and it says, I kind of like Tuchel, but not that it's going to happen. But we know what. But he will be the cuddly, protective kind of boss that our players like.
Tuchel is currently in a Champions League final with Chelsea, an FA Cup final, and a top 3. And he's in the top 3. So I'm not sure why his name is brought up. It's like saying I would kind of like Guardiola, but not sure it's going to happen. Okay,
cool. I'd kind of like Klopp as well.
Yeah, I kind of like Klopp, but yeah. Happen,
all right, look, like I said, it is quizzes, Tottenham quizzes coming your way at 4:00. So come and join us live, where it's your chance to win some Spurs prizes. I think we'll have 4 or 5 quizzes to bring for you. So quite looking forward to that. Thank you everyone for joining us today for another hour of Tottenham unpopular opinions. Thanks everyone for joining us. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.